Yes. So the meeting is being recorded. So yesterday tulifika kwa November 2016. So I want to continue from there. Do at least 2 or 3 questions. Then other questions tutafanya baadaye, tutakuwa tunafanya revision if time will allow. Now let's go to this question. For the question is for November, May 2017. May 2017. May 2017. Sijui mniambie if nikifunga light, is it better ama light iko on?
Sasa umefunga ama umewasha?
Sasa hivi nimefunga.
Hebu washa. Wacha ikae hivyo.
Kaa hivyo.
Yes sir.
So let's go to May 2017. May 2017 is number 2B. May 2017, number 2B. So May 2017, number 2B is the question we are starting with. So let us read it together. The question reads, Jambo Ltd. Jambo Ltd is a multi-product firm. The company intends to launch a new product, ZP, in its coming month. The production will be in batches of 1,000 units through the life of the product. It is expected to achieve 90% learning curve, but the learning will cease at 64th batch. Now, the learning inaishia kwa 64 batch. So 64 batch. But remember one batch iko na 1,000 units. Other relevant data of product ZP is as follows. Expected life, 256,000 units. That is approximately 256 batch. That is approximately 256 batch. But remember kwa Swahili wametuambia that it will end at 64. But information tumepatiwa pale chini ni ya 256. So you have the information hapo. The learning curve for 90% learning curve is negative 0.152 required. The expected profit to be earned from the product over its lifetime. Now, over its lifetime, wanamaanishaje? Over its lifetime. Wanamaanisha at 64 batch. Kulingana na pale juu. So the lifetime of that we will produce that ZP pale juu. Production will be batched of 1,000 units throughout the life of the product. It is expected that to achieve 90% learning curve, but the learning curve will cease at 64th batch. So will cease. So that is the useful life. That is what we have been given. Now let us start with number 1, part A, the expected profit. Now for expected profit, you need to take selling price, we minus the cost, so that we can get the selling price. So how do we go about it? So for the 64th batch. Now we shall use the total approach. Remember, total approach Y is equals to A X B plus 1 AX B plus 1 Now our A. What is our A? For the first production, we need to find for the first production. Let's go to the cost statement. Expected life. Do you see the first batch pale kwa statement? Kwenye umepatia expected life chini pale ukienda kwa total labor. Ni ngapi? And you mute. So pale chini unaenda unaangalia we want to see the first batch. So what is the value for the first batch? And remember it is in Kenya shillings. So the paper is for advance May. That is question May 2017 to be. May 2017. Now, what is would be the value for the first batch? Unaenda kwa cost. Unaenda chini, we have selling price, you have direct material, you have the total direct labor. You have the total direct labor. Now, for the total direct labor, it will be the first batch. Can you see it? It is now in cost. Now, this one, the first batch is in cost. The previous question unafanya, the first batch was in units. Now, this one is tofauti. Now, it's in cost. 52,500. Can you see? Can everyone see A? So hapo everyone anaona. Aya, let us continue. What about X? Now X is our useful life. Now what's our useful life? Our useful life is where is it? 64. So tuambia X is 64. So X is 64. Now let's find the rate tuone kama zinafanana. Now the one from tulipata kwa swali. So B is equal to log 90, which is 0.9 over log 2. So hiyo ni ngapi? Hiyo inakuja ngapi? How much?
Negative
Just a minute.
3. Banana.
Okay, we can continue. So umesema ni ngapi? Negative 0 point. I think it wametupatia kwa swali. Negative 0.152. I think that one is what is in the question. Sivyo? Now, but we need to find B plus 1, as we said. So B plus 1 pale juu. Iko negative 0.152 plus 1. Mute on your side. Which is 0.848. Now, let us go back to the question. Now, the question is, the expected profit to be earned from the production over its useful life. Now, over its useful life. Now, is it from 1 to 64 or for 64 only? Yes. Is it for the 64th or from 1 to 64? So the expected profit to be earned from the product over its useful life. So useful life is 64. So do we compete for 64 only or from 1 to 64?
1 to 64.
1 to 64. Uko sure? Mimi naona kama we need to determine for the 64th, the useful life, the end, the final one for 64 only. Ama
Lifetime. Tumeambiwa lifetime.
over it useful over lifetime. Okay, sawa. Let us see. Now we need with the sales. So this how much is the sales from our question? Let us come up with the income statement. So we have the sales from our cost, from our what we have been given. So we need the sales. Then we less cost. Then we less cost. And like I can see we have material cost. Material cost. We also have labor cost. We also have labor cost. We have variable cost. Variable cost. We also have fixed cost. So once we get these items, we can get our profits. Profit. Now let's start with the sales. Now, what is the cost per sale? So cost, how many units do we need for sales? Per Jew. Where is it? How many units do we have? 256. Now, what is the cost per unit for sales? Cost per unit for the sales? Me 120. 1, 2, 3. So how much is that?
$31,488.
31. 4.
88.
31, 48.
31,488.
31, 488.
1,000.
Yeah. We can go to the next one. Material cost. So tunajua ni 256,000 times ngapi? Cost per unit. Kiona pale kwa service ni 36. So we're supposed to less that cost. So that one is 36. So how much will that be?
92,16,000.
92,16,000. Labor cost requires a working. So you tunaweka hiyo for now. That one requires a working. What about variable cost? Now variable cost ni tuambia per unit. So itakuwa ni 256,000 times 36. So inakuja ngapi? Leo mwingine tumepatiwa 3 million. That one is direct. 3 million.
Variable cost per unit ni 24.
Oh, 24. 24. Inakupea ngapi?
61,44,000.
61,44,000. Now we need to determine the profit. from that point. Now, when we determine profit, now our interest now is to find the labor cost. Remember, the labor cost is affected with what? It's affected with the learning curve. So the labor cost is affected with the learning curve. So how do we go about it? According to what we did yesterday. So the one our answer, according to this question. So is it between 1 to 64 or 64 only? That is the issue now. So we need to think from that point. So is it, so the majority minimum is between 64, because we need to find the labor. Itakuwa in terms of cost. I think itakuwa in terms of cost, so that ukishapata your cost, you can now multiply with the units or the batches. You can multiply with the units or the batches. Now let us see which one is making sense. Najua pia ukifanya swali you can know which one is making sense and which one is not making sense. Now let us see. Let us start with the 64. So if you want to start with the 64, y is equals to 52,500 times 64. Now raised to 0.848. 0.848. So hii itakuwa ngapi wadau? Ngapi wadau? Na muongee juu natakosa kuona the chat. So ngapi yo? I'm waiting for your answer. And mute. Mimi napata 17. Kulingana na calculator ni 17.
1785, 664.7.
Tuweka 665. Now, this is in what? Is it in cost or is it in units or in hours? So hapo ndio kuna issue. It is in what? Now let's go back to our statement from the question. Let's go back to our statement. Now to get back to our statement, if you are to check clearly, if the cost imepatiwa pale, it's cost per batch. It is cost given in batch. For example, it's for the first batch. Now this one is cost per batch. So this one is cost per batch. Remember, this one is cost per batch. Remember that one is cost per batch. Now, this one is for the 64th. This one is for the 64th. Now, what we need to do so that we can get cost per batch. So this is cost per batch for the 64th. For the 64th. Now, what we need to do, we need to determine for one batch. So how one batch itakuwa pesa ngapi? Let me show you. Y is equal to 52,500 times 64. Because this figure is too big. We weka hapa. Now remember it's per batch. Na batch ni mingi. So that figure, it is too big. 848. So that we find the difference, we find cost per batch. So one batch ni pesa ngapi? So that we can estimate how many batches do we have Kwa hiyo swali yetu, we had some batch there. So 52,500 times 64 raised to 0.848, which is 17.
And then the same.
Sorry, 63. The yenye iko nyuma yake supposed to be 63, so that we can get for one batch. 17, 61, 9, 76. Now, if we find the difference, we can get now cost per batch. We don't want for the whole 64. Kwa sababu tukichukua for the whole 64, itakuwa ngumu kudetermine. So what is the difference? So what is the difference between the two? Ngapi? 1785, 665, 1785. 61, 1761, 976. Now, para 23, 689. Remember its cost. 23, 689 per batch. Now, we need to determine the labor cost now. Labor cost. Now, the first one, for the 64th, up to 64th ni ngapi? So, remember, up to 64th, ni 17, 85, 665. Now we add the rest. So from 64 tunabakisha ngapi tufike 250? Remember our units ilikuwa for one batch. Remember for one batch ilikuwa inapatia 256,000 units. Sivyo? Hapo tunakubaliana? Yes.
Sana.
But remember, how many units did you have? Tulikuwa na 1,000 units. So how many batches do you have in total? So how many batches do you have in total?
56.
Eh? How many batches do
64.
you have in total? Two? So one unit, ndio tunasema hivyo, one unit ilikuwa inaenda na one batch. Acha niwaekee hapa labda hapo muione mzuri. Tunasema one batch is equivalent to 256,000 units. Now, kwa swali pale tuambia we had 1,000 units. Now how many batches in total? Unachukua 256,000 divided by 1,000. So total units 256. Now, remember we are computing for 256 for the useful life of this course. We want to know the profit of all the 256, the useful life. Now,
Excuse me.
for 64, ni hii. For 64, ni hii. How much is remaining? Ndio tujue
Sawa.
the cost for the...
Aya.
How many costs?
Niko na swali.
Yes.
Tumeambiwa production will be in batches of 1,000 units throughout the life of the product. So one batch is equals to 1,000 units.
One batch? Oh, yeah.
Equals to 1,000 units.
One batch? 1,000. What about? Oh, inafaa iwe hivyo, yes. So ni hivyo, yes. Now wamesema the process will end at, but pale chini wanatuambia wametupatia the information for 256. Now for us to determine the profit, we shall use the one for 256 because that one ina contain the first batch, sivyo? Kwa sababu the 256,000 units ndio mtuambia the first batch is 52,500. So kumaanisha we shall determine the labor up to 64 yenye tumebado pale juu, of which unajua ndio hii hapa, the cost up to 64. Hii ni total cost for the whole batch. Then we determine now from 64 to 256. How much do you have? How many batches are we remaining with? Mute. Mute. Now 192 is per batch. What's the cost per batch? Day 23,689. Unaweka hapo. We shall get the total labor cost. Ndio unakuja unaweka hapa. Total labor cost. So tumecompute they are all the 256. So tumecompute yote ya the 256. So umeona hapo ngapi? So 192 times 23,689. 23,689. That is around 4,548,288. Then add the other one, 17,85,665. So equals to 6,333,953. Now that is the cost. Type would you speaking? Katika. So that one is 63.
Mbona kwa hiyo
Network yako inakatika, si kama ni mimi peke yangu ndo sikusikii ama pia wengine wakusikii. Hebu jaribu kuongea tena. Nilikuwa nasema hivi, acha turudie. Tulisema the first thing upatiwe swali, you need to determine the first batch. Now the first batch tomorrow iko in terms of cost. So first batch is A, which is 52,500. Then X is 64 up to the point of cessation wametupatia. But remember from our question also wametuambia that we have other batch which is in form of units, which is 256,000, which is 256. Nauliza mbona tutumie the concept ya interval. Now what if we use that concept? Itakupatia the same answer. You can try on your side also to use the concept of interval. But remember, this one is in form of cost. So remember, this one is already in form of cost. That's why sijatumia hiyo. Sababu iko in units. This already this figure iko in cost. So this one will be more easier compared to that one. So this one is direct. Now, what if you use that one? Have you tried and see the answer? You can try at your own time to use the interval and see if you shall get the same answer. So you can try at your own time. But the important thing now here is to find A and the X. And maybe to find this B plus 1. So the rest, we are determined for 256 units. So the rest, we are determined for 256. So I got 256 times 0. 256 times 0. Now, the only issue upon the labor. Now, with labor, we need to determine first for the first 64. Once we get for the first 64, then you can find the remaining in terms of a batch. So tunaanza determine for the first 64, and ndio hii hapa. This is the total cost for the first 64. Then once you get that one, we can find for the remaining between 256 and between from 64 going up to 256 because we need for the whole 256. So nilifanya 64 kwanza nikapata, then from 64 to 256 the difference ni cost per unit, which tunapata aje? The difference between the 64 and the 63 inakupatia direct. I think that one is fine. Any question? I think that one is fine. I think we don't have any question from that point. So we are interested first with 64. Then from 64, the rest now. Now, what you need to know, so any unit from 64, kwenda mbele, it will be constant. The cost per unit should be constant. So you know, ukumbuke. That's why hatuchukua pia total at 256 times tunachukua hivi 52,500 times 256 is 0.48. Hatutachukua hivi direct because ndio tupate 256, hatutachukua hivi kwa sababu for the first 64 it might not be constant, but from 64 kwenda mbele, so any unit from 64 to 256, then the cost per unit is assumed to be constant. So that's why nimeifanya hivyo. So in most cases ukiona swali kama hiyo unaanzia na yenye umepatiwa kwanza, then the rest una determine baadaye. Then that one will be fine. That one will be okay. Tayari kwa tunaanza sitting. Tukisema tutafanya swali at least 2 3. So maswali ni mingi na ni moto. So let's go to November 2018. November 2018, question number 5C. November 2018, question number 5. November 2018. So November 2018. But in an exam, kama hauelewi, make sure you remember the formulas. So you just input ukisonga, so you don't waste time. So November 2018, 5C. November 2018, question number 5C. November 2018, question number 5C. Let me read it. ZLTT has received an order to supply 30 units of product IA. So far, 14 units have been completed. The first unit requires 40 direct labor hours, and a total of 240 direct labor hours has been recorded for 14 units. Additional information. The production manager expects that 80% of the learning curve for this type of work. The company uses standard cost, absorption costing. That one we did it in MA. The following attributes to the center in which the product IA is manufactured are as follows. Now we have the direct material cost per unit, labor per hour, variable cost also per hour, fixed cost, you have been given in total for the 4 weeks. For the 4, number 1, required the learning curve index. Now the learning curve index is B. So part A, the learning curve index, in short, anasema ni B. Learning curve index. So log, so log what? Log 80, 0.8 over log 2. So that's the index. Nimetuambia part A. That one was direct. So napata negative 0.322. Negative 0.322, if I'm not wrong. Napata hivyo? Yes. Negative 0.322. Okay. We go to number B. Now, when you're kwa jana, I will share the video from today or tomorrow. So I have the videos from topic 1 up to this topic 3. Topic 2, I mean. So, but remember to find topic 3 so far. We can find topic 1 and topic 8. And this topic 2. Now, let us interpret number B. What do they require in part B? Now, before do part B, we have B plus 1. Negative 0.322 plus 1. So that one is also important. So negative 0.322 plus 1, which is 0.678. 0.678. Now that is the learning curve index or the learning curve coefficient. The learning curve index or the learning curve coefficient. Number B. Now, actually nimenotice yes, alikuwa tunafanya hatujafanya part B. Sivyo? Hatujafanya part B. Okay, tuanze kwa hiyo swali baadaye. Hiyo May 2017. So part A na part B, iko na part A na B. But ni sawa, tutarudi baadaye. Number 2, the unit cost. Now this unit cost, you compute it in accordance to the learning curve. You compare it in accordance to the learning curve. Now tuanze na ya kwanza. So cost statement. Cost statement. Tuanze na material cost. Now material cost is direct. Now how many units are we supposed to produce in this question? The order. Order ni ngapi? How many orders amepatiwa?
30.
So ni 30 times cost per unit.
Ibra, niko na swali. Wamesema order ni 30 but amecomplete 14 units. So tutatumia gani?
Let us see. Z Ltd has received an order to supply 30 units of product IA. So far, 14 units have been completed. Now the first unit required requires 40 direct labor hours, and a total of 40 labor units hours have been recorded. Now we want the cost per unit. Let me see. So how many imefanywa? 14. But I receive an order of 30. You know, I don't know 30. You're supposed to go with the 30 because 30 is what has been completed. That is the order. So you try kujua ngapi atainka for the 30 units. Yep. So we are supposed to go with the order. You can go with the order for now. because that is what Now cost per order kwani ni ngapi pale chini? Ni 30. So we go with the first order which is ni 30 pale juu. Mnaonaje? You can also give your ideas. You can also give your ideas. Ndio tuonge pamoja. Or what is our x? Before tufanye swali. So we need to find a and x. Already we have b plus 1 hapo. So a ni ngapi? So a, the first unit. The first unit. Let us see. The first unit. So the first unit required is 40 direct labor hours. So 40 hours, sivyo? So A ni 40 hours. What about X? Our X in 30. So 30 units. So I have to supply the 30. The 30 units. Now let's go to our question now. Anatuambia pale chini we determine to make 30 units. So what is the cost per unit? So cost per unit ni 30. 30 units. We multiply with cost per unit, which is 30. So cost per unit ni ngapi from your side? Ama mimi yangu ndio fake. Aya, labor cost. Labor cost. For now, the labor cost tunaiwacha hivyo. Requires working. This one requires working. Naachana nayo. The next one, we have the variable overhead. Variable cost. Now, this one also requires working. So tunaiwacha hivyo. The reason why it requires working, because it relates to labor. Wanatuambia 0.5 per direct labor hours. So this one, it is treated the same way as labor because it goes hand in hand with hours. But kama ingekuwa tu labor per unit, ungeweka direct. But because inaenda na hours, it requires working. Then you have another one here, fixed. Fixed overhead. Just have so much things we use to, so we assume it is the total one. No other information. So that once you can get the total cost per unit or the unit cost. Now, let us do for the labor item. Now, we know y is equal to ax b plus 1. Now, what is our a? Our a is 40 times 30 to make that units. Then we raise to 0.678. So, itakuja ngapi? Remember these are hours. So can you remember this? That ilikuwa 40 ilikuwa ni hours. This one ilikuwa ni units. Kwa hapo utapata total hours per unit. So hapo utapata total hours per unit. Itakuwa ni 40 times 30 raised to 0.678. So mimi napata 401 hours per unit. Now, unakuja hapa for 401 hours per unit. So what's the cost per unit hour? Cost per unit hour, wanatuambia ni 6. Multiplied by 6. Also, this one depends with hours, the direct hours. What's the cost per hour? 0.5. 0.5. So 401 times 6 is equal to 2406. Then 401 times 0.5 itakuwa 200.5. So add them together, 900 plus 2406 plus 200.5 plus 6,000. Now the cost per unit is 950, 6.5. Now not cost per unit. This one is total cost. Now we need to find total cost per unit. This one is total cost. So total cost per unit. Total cost per unit. Unachukua the total cost. So in total cost, how many units? The 30. So the units is 30. So divided by 30. So it is Kenya shillings per unit 316.89 per unit. Iko sawa? Iko sawa, that is direct. Any question up to that point? Any question? Now we can go to another city.
Rudia hapo.
Iko sawa? Iko
Bana,
sawa?
bado.
Wapi hapo? Ama nani ananisoma nauliza ama jamii? Col Palma. Unasemaje?
Nika iko sawa lakini sijaelewa.
Unaelewa wapi?
Cost statement.
So the first one, cost statement, material cost. So kwa swali yako, what is the cost per unit? Cost per unit.
30.
30. So that is 30. And then how many units are we supposed to produce?
30.
So 30 times 30 sio iko sawa. Gari itakuwa ngapi? 900. 900 sivyo?
Yes.
Haya, namba ya mwisho, fixed cost. So fixed cost tumepatiwa pale, we cannot tell if it is per unit or in full. So in this case, we go with the full because the amount ukiangalia ni kubwa. So we assume it is total cost for fixed cost. So iko sawa?
Iko sawa.
Now, our interest now, it is labor cost and variable cost. Now, if you check the two, they are all in form of hours. So kama zote ziko in form of hours, the learning curve shall affect it. So because those are in form of labor hours. So anything that goes with the labor hours, in most cases, is affected with the learning curve. So ukiangalia hizo maswali za nyuma, most of the time variable cost walikuwa tupatia in units. So inaenda na units. But in this case, wameamua kuiweka in labor. So inaenda na hours. So the hours tutapata ya labor itakuwa pia kwa variable cost because those are the same people working. So itakuwa the same. Now tunajiuliza from our question, what is the first unit? Kitu ya kwanza tunajiuliza the first batch. Now from our question, the first batch is clearly there. Wametuambia the first unit requires 40 direct labor hours. And hiyo hapa 40 direct labor hours. So the first unit required 40 direct labor hours. Now, yeah. What about X? Now, X is our unit. So how many units are we producing? So the order, which is 30. So we have received an order to produce 30 units. We have received an order to produce 30 units. So we have to direct. Now this one is direct. So 40 hours, 30 units, raised to B plus 1. Now ukiweka hivyo direct, for the first 30 units, how many hours do we require? So remember to determine the hours, because we are interested in the hours per unit. So once we get the hours per unit, we can multiply the cost per unit. So ukishaweka unapata 401 hours per unit. But remember for labor, 1 hour is 6 shillings per hour. So shillings per hour, 6 shillings per hour. So what about for one? So una multiply. For labor, ni automate 0.5 shillings per hour, but in form of units. So how many total hours per unit? For one. So you just multiply direct. You get the answer. Hiyo iko sawa hivyo. So you shall go in the review ukiwa free. Now we have another one here. November 2019.
Ibrahim, niko na swali kwanza. Tumeambiwa the first unit requires 40 direct labor hours, ndio? Si hapo kwa koja, acha
Wapi
tu
hapo?
kwanza. Acha kwanza ni load.
Hebu load. Initially nilikuwa nimesema what was A? Initially maybe tunaanzia hapo.
A ni 40.
A ni 40. Kwa sababu that's the first unit, sivyo?
Yes.
Haya. Na X.
Right.
Hapo mimi tunaanza na 30 because the order is for 30. We want to know how much it will cost us to produce the 30 units. The rest yenye wameshatengeneza, it is not of our concern. So we are only concerned with the 30 units. We want to know how much it will cost us in form of a unit to produce the 30 units.
Yeah.
That is what is important. And remember, this one is 401 per unit. For 30 units. Sivyo? So 401 hours per unit. But that will represent for how many units? The 30. So tukiweka 401 hapa, nikawa tunaweka 30 units. But sasa tumeconvert 30 units to hours, na ndio hii hapa. Uko sawa?
Sawa.
So make sure you do a lot of questions. Hapa asili ni kufanya tu maswali mingi. Maswali mingi zinakujanga tofauti. Now November 2019, question number 3A. November 2019, question number 3A. November 2019, question number 3A. So November 2019, question number 3A. So let us see what that one requires. Hii kuna maji. Haya. So hapa siri ni kufanya maswali mingi as you can. Otherwise, sasa naona nafanya maswali mingi. So hii swali kama karibu ya ngapi nafanya? Karibu ya 7. Na bado tutafanya zingine mingi. Sababu zingine ziko in other topic. So hii swali najua imeapia mara mingi. So zingine nawacha kwa sababu ziko the application in another topic. So we need to do those topics. So tulifanya hizo topic tutakuwa tunafanya tena hizo maswali. So bado hatujamalizana nazo. So ziko mingi. Now let's see this one, November 2019, question 3A. Now let us see. Now, the question reads, wapi? Okay. The Assembly Department of Lenku Race Course Club has designed a new concept in racing bicycle with an intention to sell them to a professional racing team. Now, the estimated cost and selling price for the first racing bicycle to be manufactured and assembled is as follows. So umepatiwa hapo for the first item. Okay, let us continue. Additional information na ni mingi. Let us see. It is expected that the material cost per bicycle is to remain constant irrespective of the number of the bicycle manufactured. Now it's expected that the material cost. So the material cost remain constant. So unajua unachukua direct vijiko, unachukua that one, material cost in 6,000. Sawa. Number two, the management expects to assembly time, expect the assembly time to gradually improve with experience, and therefore it's estimated that 80% running curve. That's what we said in the previous class, that the learning curve, as we keep on doing something, we shall improve in experience. Now, the learning curve is 80%. That one is okay. Number three, the racing team has approached the club assembly department and made the following inquiries on the following quotation. Number one, the price of the bicycle if the team purchased the first bicycle assembly and immediately places an order for the second bicycle. Number two, so that is number one. That is tutafanya ya kwanza hiyo. Pia tufanye ya pili, the average price, average, now that we use the average price of the third and the fourth bicycle if the team waits until the first bicycle are sold to another team. Then tutafanya pia tatu, the price per bicycle if the team places an order for the first 8 to be assembled. Now, required, evaluate the price quotation of each of the following inquiries. Let us start with the inquiry number one. Inquiry number one. So before we do inquiry number one, let us just come up with our information. AX. So we need to come up with this information first, even before we go to the inquiries. Na hapa tunasaidiana watu wangu. So mko ready kunisaidia? May 2015 question 2. Yeah, hiyo tulifanya jana. So I will share the video. So May 2015 is that one we did it. Tulianzia huko tukikuja. So that one we did yesterday. I will share the video also. So you also review. But it's so fine. So that one we did yesterday, I think. Yeah. Now, rather than the first quotation. Now, before we do the first quotation, sorry, itaendaje bwana? Now let's start by determining first the B, at least up to put to max. So B is equals to log the percentage of remaining ngapi? The percentage, walituambia ni what percentage? 80% to 0.8 over log 2. Hiyo inakuja ngapi? Itakuja negative 0.3, negative 0.322. Ngoro ni hiyo. B plus 1. I can find B plus 1 as negative 0.322 plus 1. .678. Now, sasa hapa ndio mambo iko. Now, what is A? A from the question. So what is A? So A for the first unit ni 12 hours. Sivyo? So mtaambia pale kwa hiyo statement. That statement represent for 12 hours. It represent for 12 hours. Now the question is what will be our X? So the first inquiry requires for how many units? The first inquiry from this question, the price of the bicycle if the team purchases the first bicycle and assemble and immediately place an order for the second. So itakuwaje? Itakuwaje hapo? So ana make an order for the first one, then ana make an order ama mimi ndio sielewi hii swali. And he made place an order for the second bicycle. So how much is that? For the first bicycle? So for the first bicycle, what is it? For the second bicycle, let me see. The price for the for immediate price for one, then immediate price is another for the second bicycle. Now, what is your thinking? Is it for the second? Is it what I'm being? Is it y for the is equal to the second? Is it that way? From your idea? Do you want to be the so that one is the quotation for the second bicycle? Kama sijakosea. Supposed to be for the second bicycle. Kulingana hii statement, unasema the price of the second bicycle, if the team presses the first bicycle, if the team purchases. Now, the price for the second bicycle, if the team purchases the first bicycle assembled. Now, we are interested for the second and not the first one. So we are not interested for the first one because the first one has already been assembled. Now, we are interested for the second one. So for me, I think we are going to go for the second only. For the second only. Only. And you can say now, itakuwa ni y for the first two, then y for the first. Ama itakuwaje?
Mimi naona hadi ya kwanza tunaiconsider.
Consider.
Juu ananunua ya kwanza, akishamaliza ndo ananunua ya pili.
Aha. So the quotation price for the first and for the second. Okay, let us see. So hapa lazima tufikirie how it is affected. Now let us do some. Let's do the statement first. Then we go back. So tunaanza na material. So material alisema itakuwa affected. So quotation price. So quotation price determination. So alisema material, it will remain unaffected. So material cost itabaki the same way it is, regardless of how many bicycles you order. Now for assembly, because it relates to hours, that one it will be affected. So assembly requires working. Then you have another cost there, which is manufacturing overhead. That one is direct. So manufacturing will remain on 50% of the labor. So we need that labor. Once we get the labor, we can get that one. Profit markup, we can assume lazima to calculate your profit markup tujue ni ngapi. So we need to calculate the profit markup tujue how many percent. Profit markup, this one we can calculate it. We shall calculate it later. So after profit, you can get the quotation price. How much the selling price? Quotation price or the selling price. Other people can call it selling price. Now, tuanze na markup. The markup ni haraka. Now from the question, remember for you to get profit, this markup. So remember, for you to get markup, profit markup, unachukua your profit, unataka and divide with total cost. You're supposed to divide it with the total cost times 100. Total cost times 100. So from the question, let us see. What is our profit markup? Our total is 6 million. So 6 million total cost. The total cost from the question, so you add them together. So we have 6 million plus 3,600 plus 5,400. About 15,000. So get dotted. So 6 million plus 36 plus 5.4. 15 million times 100. So what is our 16 divided by 15 times 100? So 40%. Now hapa tunaweka hiyo 40% of the total cost, which you need to find. Ukishapata hizo zote, then we shall get. Now kibarua ni kufind that figure for assembly. So kibarua ni kufind that figure for assembly. Now let's go back to our swali. So the cost per hour is 300. So the cost per hour is 300. So how many hours? We need it. So let's determine that hours for determining the bicycle. Now those hours, so it wasn't a y. Y is equal to 12 hours. Bicycle, doesn't have two bicycles, 0.678. Itakuja ngapi? How many hours per bicycle? So 12 times 2 raised to 0.678. So we have 19 hours. So, but remember, remember this one is for the, so this one is 19.2 hours. But remember, it's for both, for the two bicycle. So remember, in for the two bicycle, 1 and 2. Now, umesemaje hapa? So tunaenda na hiyo 19.2 for the whole bicycle. Ama tunaenda with the one for the second one only.
Both, in my opinion.
Both. So your opinion kama ni both, kumaanisha hapo unaweka 19.2 na pia hapa 19.2. So this is for both. You can naona kama mimi naona kama you are supposed to go for the second one only. Second one only. Now let us see. 300 times 19.2, which is 57. 60. Hapa sasa itakuwa 5760. So times 5760. So 150 divided by 100 times 5760, which is 86. 40. Then we add the total cost. Then we multiply with 40% to get our markup. So add huyu plus huyu. So 6 million plus 5760 plus 8640. Tunapata 20,400 20,400 times 0.4, which is 8160. Then so una add tena, so una add equal you to 2,400 plus 8160.
Ibra,
28.
si wanasema hapa the price of the second bicycle juu tushapewa the first bicycle. Inafaa ikuwe
Mimi
the
nilikuwa idea yangu. Mimi kwa kulingana vile I'm thinking, kwa sababu unajua pia hapa ni kizungu. Mimi naona was the second bicycle alone.
Juu inasema the price of the second bicycle if the team, so wanataka the second bicycle.
So you need to, so kama ni second, you need to remove the first bicycle. So remove the first bicycle. Mira, that one is correct. So it depends with your kizungu. So in an exam, make sure you can analyze. Kwa pale maana mimi initially nilikuwa nimefikiria the first, but only for the second one only.
My question is,
So,
see, wanna purchase the two bicycles.
Una purchase.
Kiza, wanasema the price of the
Eh.
second bicycle if the team purchases the first bicycle, kwa hivyo wamenunua ya kwanza.
Wamesha purchase ya kwanza.
And
Ona.
immediately
Hebu tuasimu
places
hivi.
an order for the second.
Hebu tuasimu hivi. Hebu acha nikuulize swali sivyo? Let me try to help you. Umeenda kununua chapo, sivyo? Kwa duka. Sivyo?
Yes.
So umeshalipa ama hujalipa?
Umelipa, si umenunua.
Haya, now what if now you want to go and purchase another one?
Unasema ni kama ingine.
Unataka kununua ingine.
Unalipa
So, will you
tena.
pay for the first one and the second one? The second one, second one and the first one and the second one, or is I pay for the second one only?
The second one only.
I think that is the idea.
Okay, I get it now. I get it.
I think that is the idea now. So okay, minus tunapata ni 7.2. For the second one, you can go with 7.2. So now that one is per bicycle. Hours per bicycle. So ndio kuja uweke hapa. I think that one is correct. Hivyo. I think that one will be okay if it were to be in this format. Now, but in an exam, they will not prepare you that much because they know different people have different thinking capacities. So we shall get just your answer, but maybe I will deny for the correct answer pale chini. So 21, 60, so 150 over 100 times 2160. 32, 40. So we add them. So 6,000 plus 2160 plus 32, 40. Then you multiply with 11,400. I think that one will be correct. So times 0.4. 45, 60. Now the quotation for the second one, I mean, it will be equal to that amount. Kwa sababu already alikuwa ameshalipia ingine, so we don't need to include it. Kwa sababu already asha purchase. We are interested with what hajanunua. So that is the first quotation. That is the first quotation. You can go to the second quotation here. Second. Now, so this is part A, part B. So quotation price for the second end, not for the second end. Wanasema aje? So hiyo wanasema the average, so hiyo tunatumia the average. Hapa ni kama itabidi kutumia the average. Kama itakuwaje? Watumia the average. Okay, let us see. So the average price, iko wapi? The average price of the third and fourth. Third and fourth. So unachukua ya third, una minus ya third and fourth. Unachukua ya fourth una minus ya
Second ama.
Second hivyo sivyo? So let us see. So amesema the average. So the average, remember the formula for average ilikuwa aje? Formula for average. Inaenda aje? It was AXB. AXB. Sivyo? That's for average. Now tuanze na the third. Now the fourth. So itakuwa ni A ilikuwa ni 12. So tunasema hapo unachukua for the first four, for the first one. Kwa hivyo. So itakuwa ni 12 times hata ningefanyia hapa, hata tukifanyia hapa juu ndio tuweke quotation yetu pale baadaye. Itakuwa ni y equal to tuanze na ya kwanza 12.
See, ni the third. So ni the first form minus the first two.
Ati ngoja iko wapi? Wote nirudi hapo. Kwa hiyo tunasemaje? The average price for the third and for the bicycle, if the team awaits for the first two bicycles are sold for the first two. Si mimi iko sawa ama si ni for na ngoja taturudi hapo. Oh, ni two. Ngoja third. Iko sawa. Ni fourth na second. Ama what do you think? The average price for the third and the fourth. If the team awaits for the first two ndio ina form the third. Kwa hiyo inamkomesha yenye kujuma ya 2 ya 3. Si ni 2. Mimi niko sawa 4 and second. Okay, your idea before tuendelee. You're good to borrow from your idea.
Si ni kama tunafanya between 4 and 3.
4 and
3. So tunachukua first 4 minus first 2 ama
first 2. Oh, hapa first 2. First 2 hivyo. Hapo. Oh, not 1. Yes. First 2. Because it's supposed to be first, not first 1. First 2. Sivyo? Now the 12 times 4. Now the average. Atuambia the average price. Do we use the average equation or the total equation? I think we shall use the average. So in the B yetu ni ngapi? Negative. Na sisi kama acha tuone. Let us see. Ikitupatia negative, then kumaanisha we are not supposed to use this equation. Aya, minus so itatupatia hours kiasi gani? So kulingana na hii inajua itatupatia negative. So mostly we cannot use okay, let us see. So 12 times 4 raised to negative 0.322. Okay, imetupatia positive. So 7.68. Haya. Kwenda kwa 2. Maajabu. Itatupatia negative 9.6. Now, is that one possible? So is it possible to use the average time to find the cost? Is it possible? According to that one, can we have negative hours? Or is it in hours? In hours is all. Can you have negative hours per bicycle? Unasema tu pap. Bicycle inatokea. Possible?
we cannot have negative.
So the only way we use the total equation. So in that case, we cannot use the average. So we use the total. That comes to be the word average. That one is to confuse people. So we use the average. We use the total. We use the total. After this figure to make a hapo. So I use the total. So that is the only way. So y will be equal to 12 times 4, 0.678 minus 12. We said 2, 0.678. Now how much? That would be itakuwa ni 12 times 4 raised to 0.678 minus 12 times 2 raised to 0.678. So we have 11 hours, 11.52. So you get it, 11.52 hours. 11.52 hours.
Yes.
11.52. Mnapata hivyo? So I hope that is the one you are getting. So material cost will not be affected. Tunaweka vinyiko. Material cost, they said it will never be affected. That will remain the same. Assembly. Now assembly, we know it is 300 per hour. How many hours? So 11.52. Kwa hiyo ni ngapi? Tutasema 300 times 11.52. 34. 34, 56. Manufacturing. Manufacturing. It will be 150%. Multiplied by 34, 56. So 150 over 100, 5184. 5184. You can find the total cost. Total cost. So plus 3456 plus 6,000. 14,640. 14,640. Then we add our profit markup. Profit markup, na tunajua ni ngapi? Is 40%. We had computed it of the cost 14,640 so that we can get our quotation price. So 0.4 times 14 to get 56. But we can add 14, it's 40, 20, 496. Now that one marks the end of our learning curve. Let me give you some questions, but these questions, we cannot do them because it requires application. And from 2022, December, all the questions you are going to set, they were all application up to date. So tukifanya kwa hiyo topic, so nataka niandike chini, note them down. Tukifika kwa hiyo topic, tutafanya. Mtanikumbusha, like kwa life cycle topic, we had this one. For target costing, we had this one. For the divisional of cost, tulikuwa nayo. So tukifika huko, mtanikumbusha. Let me write it down. Then tukifika hizo topic, nyinyi ndio mtakuwa mnanikumbusha kulikuwa na hii na hii na hii. So do part 3 assignment for this question. Do part 3. Do part 3. Do part 3. So part 3 walikuwa wanauliza for the assignment. The price of the bicycle if the team orders the first 8. Kumaanisha kutoka from 1 mpaka 8. So unafanya from 1 mpaka 8. The first 8. So unachukua yote from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So that one is direct. So utafanya tu direct. Y will be equal to 12 times 4 times 8. 0.678. So hiyo hours ukishapata unakuja unaiweka hapo. Sio itakuwa sawa, hiyo ni direct. Hiyo sawa Palma?
Iko fiti.
So hiyo ni direct. So hiyo nimewachia at your assignment. So that will be direct. Aha. Now nimeona something. Hebu muone muangalie kama hapa you are supposed to multiply with 2. Na kwa nyingine kama you are supposed to multiply with 8. hiyo cost of material kama kwa multiply with the two kama itabaki hivyo kulingana na vile nimesema pale juu. So my assumption pale juu nilisema the cost will not change. Is it correct? Ama utamultiply na 2. The first one for the first quotation kwa sababu ilikuwa for 1 unit. The first one tulifanya ya kwanza itakuwa 6000 because it's 6000 times 1. So the price itakuwa constant. What about for the rest? Utamultiply na 8 na ingi utamultiply na 2.
Yes, you should multiply.
So correct that one. So we shall
Ibra,
correct this one. Hapa, you correct this one times 2.
lakini bra, si wanasema nini? Material cost
Ama
per
direct
bicycle is constant irrespective of the number of bicycles manufactured.
the material cost per bicycle remain constant. Itabaki the same. Hata vile itabaki the same. Now it is you to decide. Ujue kama ni constant ama constant, itabaki constant as the price per unit and constant as the price per bicycle for the whole bicycle.
Wanasema I think inamaanisha if you produce two bicycles, the cost ya kuproduce one bicycle haita change, itabaki kukuwa 6000. So like hata ukiproduce 7 ama 8 bado one bicycle ni 6000. So for you to get
Per unit.
For you to get the collective, you should multiply by the number of bicycles you produce.
Okay, sasa hapo ndio haya. Sasa hapo mimi kizo yangu imefikia hapo. So it is expected that the material cost per bicycle is remain unchanged irrespective of the number of bicycle. So it remain 6000 per bicycle or it remain 6000 for all the bicycle.
Per bicycle. So wamesema hapo material cost per bicycle to remain constant.
So it's supposed to be 6000 times 2.
Yes, sir. In my opinion, that is.
Okay, you analyze the statement correctly, then you decide. So kama ita change, remember your total cost hapa ita change, na your markup itafanya nini? Ita change. So that's for you. So you analyze it very well, but mimi naona kulingana vile nimesoma tena, vile nilikuwa nimeanalyze initially is not the same way. I think it's supposed to be per bicycle. So as you keep on increasing, the cost will remain constant, but you need to multiply with the number of bicycles. That's my idea also. Anyway, you do for the 8th one, so itakuwa ni 6000 times 8, then 3000 times 300 times what we shall get as hours, then 150% of utapata kwa assembly, then utapata total cost. That one will be okay. Now let me write for you this past paper, but we shall do them once we do the application part. So just let me give you can try, but I don't know if it will be possible, but you can also try and see. So ukiona unaweza kufanya, the better. So ukiona unaweza kufanya, it will also be better. But let me write them down so that ukifika hizo topics, then we shall need to do them. We shall need to do them because they are very, very important. So that one we shall do them. So matatizo nitaandika hapa, we shall need to do them. We shall need to handle them. Hii pen ya black inachafua ink sana. Now let me write them down. Then it will be now for you to remind me tukifanya hizo topic. Now we have maliza maswali za application ndio sometimes nasumbuanga watu. Sisi application zinakuanga rahisi. So ukikutana na swali yenye si application, the better. So for us this is application, now the better. So by that one, we mark the end of our learning curve. Most of the learning curve questions we shall do in other topic. So once nimewapatia those paper, those past paper, we shall do them in the other topic. Now, the first one was class sitting, but we cannot do them because we did a concept of the divisional units. April. So unaandika chini ndio tukifanya tukifika kwa hiyo division ndio kama unaniambia tuko nayo. So divisional. Talk about divisional units. So that is the topic. Pale mbele. April 2024. Also divisional units. August 2023. Question number 4. So it's target costing. So define target costing utaniambia. Then April 2024. No, April 2023. Ukifika hapa utaniambia target costing. Then you have for December. So these are the one if Japanya. Kuna zingine huko nyuma. Life cycle. So you can try for this one. Life cycle. Maybe you can try. Hiyo labda unaweza fanya because ni haina mambo mengi. But for the rest, I think that one requires us to go deep. So these are topics. So those are the topics that we need to check. That are the topic that we need to check. Let me show you others from our past papers za kitambo concerning what? Learning curve, where we have the applications. So where we have the application, I think we can get some few extra, maybe 2 or 3. So that at least you know what awaits. It's good to know what is awaiting, so that wajipanga mapema. Yes. Now this question sitting November 2020. Hiyo tujafanya pia. November 2020. Question number 5. This one is concerning. This topic is budget and variance. So for me hapa budget and budgetary iko combined in advance. So unafanya pamoja. So si kama intermediate budget ilikuwa kando, variance kando. So hapa it's a combined topic. So that one iko hapo. So you need to give the background of that. Also, September 2021. September 2021. The question is question number 4C. 4C, still budget, budgetary, and variance. And variance. Alafu, I think those are enough. I think you have done our part. The rest we shall do it in another part. So once we get to that part, I think we'll be okay to do it from that part. Kama kuna ingine najaribu kuangalia nini kama nitapata kwa topic ya nini performance measurement, because we have also the topic for performance measurement which can be also related to this.
but I think hakuna. So hizo ndio commonly. So kwa hizo ndio commonly tested. Those are the commonly tested na kwa life cycle. So for life cycle pH is very common. But once you get the idea of life cycle, target costing, na the divisional, then I think those questions will be easier. So once we introduce those topics, and how it is done, I think itakuwa sawa. Now, that marks the end of the learning curve. There's nothing we can add. There is nothing we can add. Okay. All the time. So we are supposed to finish that. So we are supposed to finish at 12. So do we finish from that point? How about 20? So write those down somewhere. Hapo kwa hii topic chini. Then ukifika the topics. Ukifanya to division, target costing, life cycle, then remind me to go back to this question to do at least them. So do we continue or we call it a day for today? And menyamaza sana uongeze. So kama waongeni kumaanisha they want us to continue. I'll be very glad to continue. Yes?
We call it a day.
Oh. That's how we shall start from this topic 4. Topic 4. Topic 4, I think from topic 4, we shall talk about target costing in the life cycle. The topic 4 is our next topic. So you need to price decision. Ama, let's not go to pricing decision. We find it after topic 3 ni planning. Planning and decision making technique. So that mna apply mnafanya hiyo learning curve, mnajikumbusha ifanyaka planning, so that ukija topic 4. Topic 4 ni pricing decision. So hapo ndio kuna hizo vitu. So we have the target costings in topic 4. So kwanza hizi zote hizi toka hapa mpaka hapo. This is pricing decision. That is pricing decision. So from that topic, ndio tutafanya those questions. Now, let us meet from what? From Monday. Monday tufanye pricing decision. Hiyo itakuwa class ya siku mbili. So Monday na Friday. So next week Monday and Friday tunapata topic 3. So that tuingie topic 4. Topic 4 pia ni class ya just one class. So next Saturday tutakuwa tunaingia topic 4. Tutafanya topic 4 next Saturday. So next Saturday tutafanya topic 4. So tubaki topic ngapi? 3. Now for now, we call it a day. We meet from Monday. Today we shall have Advanced FM. Jioni. Nita communicate kama itakuwa ama tutaipush kesho. But I will tell you